Have you ever just stopped and noticed how the world seems to whisper in patterns? How certain shapes and forms just repeat themselves in the most unexpected places? Well, today, we're going to dive into one of the most profound of these echoes I've ever come across, and it's hidden inside a truly ancient fruit. So it all starts with the outside. You've got this tough, kind of leathery skin that does a fantastic job of protecting everything within. And right on top, there's this distinctive part, the calyx, that looks, unmistakably like a royal crown. But the real secret, the real story, isn't on the surface. You have to break it open. And when you do, wow, you find something that honestly looks less like a fruit and more like a little marvel of biological architecture. We're looking at its scientific name here, Punica granatum, but what's truly incredible is the structure inside. It's not just a random mess of seeds. No, it's an organized, complex, and really intricate system. Now look a little closer. Inside, it's like a whole city of seeds, and each one is wrapped in its own little jewel-like sac of juice. This city is neatly divided into districts by these super thin, papery membrane walls. And these districts, they're not random either. They're arranged in these very distinct lobes. Now, I'm using that language for a very specific reason. Okay, so watch what happens when we take those exact descriptions and place them side by side with terms from human anatomy. You have red seated chambers next to red vascular tissue. You got membrane divided next to, well, membrane divided. Lobe arrangement next to lobed structure. All of a sudden, a pattern starts to emerge that is pretty hard to ignore. And here it is. This is where that parallel just becomes undeniable. The interior of a pomegranate is an almost perfect mirror of the architecture of the human female reproductive system. Those red, seated, membrane-divided lobes, they are an unmistakable echo of uterine and ovarian tissue. But you gotta ask, right? Is this just a wild coincidence? A trick of the eye? Or does this signature, this incredible visual clue, actually point to something deeper? In other words, does the function of this fruit follow its form? Let's get into the clinical evidence and find out. So the first thing we find are phytoestrogens. These are really powerful compounds that come from plants. And their key feature, the thing that makes them so special, is their ability to interact with our body's own estrogen receptors, which, as you know, are absolutely crucial for reproductive health. What's so amazing is that these phytoestrogens don't just crudely block or boost estrogen, they modulate it. It's like they fine-tune the system, dialing the activity of both the alpha and beta receptors up or down as needed. What that means, clinically, is that they can help support hormonal balance right there in the reproductive tissue itself. Okay, next up. If we zoom into the seeds themselves, we find something truly unique: punicic acid. This is a very rare omega-5 fatty acid, and let me tell you, it is an anti-inflammatory powerhouse. And this is where my mind was just blown. Punicic acid works by reducing the inflammation driven by prostaglandins, a primary cause of menstrual pain. And how does it do this? It inhibits the COX-2 enzyme. Now, if that sounds familiar, it should. This is the exact same anti-inflammatory pathway that common drugs like ibuprofen target. Nature literally put a similar mechanism inside a fruit seed. But wait, there's more. There's a third layer to this incredible story. In the juice and even the peel, we find another class of compounds called ellagitannins. Now, these are some of the most potent antioxidants known to science, but they have a secret. Their real power, it's only unlocked after we eat them. See, once they're in our gut, our own microbiome, our good bacteria, gets to work. They transform these ellagitannins into brand new compounds called urolithins. And guess what? Research shows that these urolithins also have powerful hormone-balancing properties, specifically by modulating estrogen receptors in reproductive tissue. The form and the function, they just align perfectly. So, what we have here is this remarkable, jaw-dropping alignment of anatomy and chemistry. But the story doesn't stop there. It actually gets deeper. For the next part, we have to look back, way back, to some of the most ancient texts in the world where this exact fruit shows up again and again as a powerful symbol. So think about this. When spies were sent into the Promised Land to see if it was really as good as God had said, what did they bring back as proof? Grapes, figs, and pomegranates. This wasn't just lunch. It was evidence. It was a tangible sign of the profound abundance and fertility of that land. And that status gets cemented later on, when the land itself is being described. The pomegranate is specifically named as one of the 7 sacred species. These 7 foods didn't just happen to grow there, they defined the land. They were, in a very real way, the signature of God's blessing. But its status gets elevated even higher than that. The pomegranate was given the incredible honor of being woven directly into the sacred robes of the high priest, the one man who could enter the Holy of Holies and stand in God's presence. This was not just decoration. You had these embroidered pomegranates, alternating with little golden bells all along the hem of his robe. They were part of the very fabric of Israel's worship, a symbol of life, of fruitfulness, stitched right into the point of contact between God and humanity. And beyond worship, it became this central metaphor for beauty and for life. In the beautiful poetry of the Song of Solomon, the beloved's temples, a sign of her beauty and her vitality, are compared to a slice of pomegranate. And the final beautiful image in this ancient love poem is that of a garden, an orchard. And what's right there at the heart of this picture of divine blessing, of love, and of pure abundance? An orchard of pomegranates, overflowing with pleasant fruits. So when you put it all together, from its very structure to its chemical function to its deep scriptural symbolism, the pomegranate consistently points to a single profound truth. It is a sign of life. So we're left with this incredible thread that runs straight through anatomy, chemistry, and scripture, and it all converges on this one fruit. You have a visual echo that is then confirmed by clinical function, and then it's elevated by thousands of years of ancient symbolism. So is it all just a remarkable coincidence, or could it be a sign of intentional design? That is something to think about.